Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BNB. This is going to be a lower time frame video. A higher time frame video is up above, so check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, before we jump into the lower degree counts, we're going to go over a couple of the ideas that we had here within the higher degree counts. So there are two ways that we can look at this where we could potentially have a fourth wave in place here. And what we're looking for is a fifth wave to the upside, looking to rally from this current low. And this would be valid as long as we hold this 183.8. If we, however, lose this low, this would actually tie into one of the other counts where we could still be looking for this extension to the downside. Now, within this other count here, we could also argue that we have the fourth wave completed here, in which case we're looking for this fifth wave to the upside once again. Now, the other way that we could look at this is that potentially we have this as our third wave where we actually had a truncation over here, and what we could then have is that this is WX, so we could still be looking for one more push to the downside here, which would be looking for a Y wave. So the common fourth wave target area would be this 230 to this 67.1. Now this is the primary way that I'm looking at this count here. It is possible, like I said, that as long as we hold this low, we could potentially look to rally to the upside, but we need to be aware that we could still see this potential to come back down here towards this $113 level, and that would align with this actually developing as a Y wave to the downside. So we're going to go over those bullish counts first, and then we're going to discuss this idea where we could actually look to continue to break down. Now, within the bullish count, what we'd be saying is that effectively into this high here, we would have a 5-wave move. Then we'd be treating this as a corrective move down, and then we'd be looking for this as effectively A, B, and C. So this would be our wave 2 and our B wave to the downside, where effectively we have this as WXY, this is a connector wave, and then we have a C wave to the downside. Now within this idea, what we'd be saying is that this last leg over here is a 5-wave move, and what we'd be looking for as a target area would be lower down here towards this 213 to this 201 level. Now we have come down into this zone, and it is possible that we could look for a reversal, but we do need to also just bear in mind here that there is potential here that this move is also not completed. So we're going to go over that idea here. Now we're going to come in a little bit closer. And the way I'm currently looking at this is that this whole movement here is 1, this is 2, and we're looking for this as our third wave. Now we have moved down towards this 1618, which is the most common target area for a wave 3. It is possible that internally here we could have, instead of counting this the way I'm counting this here, we could have this as 1, 2, and then we have another 1, 2 over here. So we need to just bear in mind that if we do get this as a fourth and a fifth, and then we actually develop another fourth and a fifth, this would tie into the idea that there's an additional 1, 2 in here. At the moment though, I'm treating this as a W and X and a Y to the upside here, and then we're looking for this fourth wave still to the upside. Now like I said, we have come down here and hit this 1618. What I would be looking for would be for this move to start to develop to the upside. Now the common area for this fourth wave would be this 226 to this 215 level, and then we'd be looking for that possibility of continuation down. There is always potential, like I said, that we could have a little bit more extension within this, but effectively what we'd be looking for with this idea would be completing this 5-wave move to the downside and actually staying above this 183.4 level. Now, if we just zoom out a little bit here, the 0.854 is here at this $200 zone. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this because this also aligns with our white target box. If we do look to move down here, that would be actually looking to move into this 0.854, in which case what we could then see is the possibility of this move actually looking to push to the upside one more time here, where this becomes a bigger A, B, and a C if we move to this 1-to-1 level, or alternatively this becomes 1, 2, and then we'd be looking for this third wave confirmation by moving up towards this 555 level for a potential third wave target. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that if we do look to move up in that way. Now, if we are looking at this move slightly different here, what we could also argue is that instead of counting this as A and then this all becomes a B wave, we could argue that this is just a 3-wave move here for a W. If this is the case, we still have potential to see a move to the upside here, in which case what we could have is that this is just a W wave, this is A, this is B, and then we look for this as a C wave, in which case we could then still see another 3-wave move to the upside. Now the common support zone that we'd be looking for here actually in the area here of this 231 to this 205 level. We have come down into this zone already, so I'm just on the lookout here for any kind of a reaction to the upside that could look to actually start to develop as an impulse. If we do start to develop an impulse to the upside here where we get 1 2 3 4 5, this could just be a flat correction. Otherwise, this could develop a three-wave move, in which case we could still look to come back up here and target out this target box that I have over here at this 470 to this 398. Now, the key thing here is we want to see whether we continue to get extension to the downside here, because if we are looking at this idea here where we have this as an X wave rather, and in this way what we'd be saying is that this is our connector wave here and we actually complete into this high. What we'd then be looking for is that this move to the downside is actually going to be the start of a bigger structure here. So this would mean that this move to the downside effectively will become our A wave. So we need to be on the lookout for something like this, that once we complete this 5-wave move, we could then see just a 3-wave move back to the upside, failing to push back above this 313 level, and then looking for continuation to the downside, in which case we could look to move down towards this 173 level. And if I overlay this idea of having this WXY down here, we can see that would then meet this 0.618, which would be the minimum requirement we are looking for here as a Y wave. Now, the idea would be here that this move can push past this 1-to-1. I wouldn't like to see it push past this 1.618, otherwise it starts to become an impulse to the downside where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we just have to be a little bit careful that internally here there isn't another 1 and 2, something like this, and then this move is looking to break down from here. Though it wouldn't really fit the criteria, to be honest with you. Higher up it is looking very corrective, but it is still a possibility that if we do look to break down in a bigger way, what we could see is this 1618 getting hit. And if we do get this as an ABC and this moves down to the 1618, we have to start looking for potential of fourths and fifths to the downside, in which case what this could do is potentially push us a little bit lower down here to this next target box that I have here, this 116 to this $93 level. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on these if we do continue to see price looking to push down. But like I said, in the immediate short term here, what I'm looking for is that as long as we fail to actually push back above this 226 level, I will be looking for continuation down. If we do start to get more extension within the waves here, where potentially we could even get an extension in the fifth wave, where this becomes 1, 2, and then we start to break down in a bigger way here, and then what that would mean is that this whole third wave is still extending out. I would be looking out for this 189.4 as a possible target where we could see this look to complete if we are going to see further extension, but there isn't really anything indicating it at the moment, but we'll have to just see what the waves tell us. Coming down here and having a look at the daily CPR lines, what we can see is that there was a very tight spread today, and we actually rejected off of this central line here and we started to fall away. Now we've met all of the criteria to the downside today. It is possible price can actually just continue to push down here. We don't have any other targets for today, but if we do move back to the upside, potential resistance can be found at this 211, 212, 214, 215, and these central lines here at this 216 level. If we do see price look to actually have a reversal to the upside, targets to the upside for today would be 217, 219, 220, and this 221 level. Now we do have some new weekly CPR lines here. What we can see is that price is actually underneath these. We haven't actually had an interaction with these yet. What I would be keeping an eye on here is that if we do look to push down and we look to hit this S1 line at this 205, price could be drawn back towards these levels of these central lines here, which would be this 228, 224, and this 220 zone. Now, if we're going to see price continue to fall away here and we do see a bit of a bounce to the upside, what I would be on the lookout for here would be the potential of actually moving up into these, finding rejection, and then continuing to the downside, in which case other targets for this week would be this 193, and we have this 174 as potential downside targets. Now, if we do see price look to actually hold this zone, reverse, get back above these central lines, then targets for this week would be 235, we have 254, and this 265 as potential upside targets. Now moving over here and having a look at the monthly CPR lines, what we can see is that we are underneath our central lines, we are underneath our S1 and our S2 line now currently. And if we do see price continue to break down, we could potentially look for an interaction with this 197 level as our S3. If we do move back to the upside, these can potentially offer us resistance at 214, which would be back into these lows. We have this level here of this 227, and then if we do have a higher bounce here, potentially our central lines between this 242 and this 246 could offer us resistance. If we do start to see some kind of a reversal to the upside here, what we'd then be looking for, if we manage to reclaim these central lines as upside targets, would be 258, 274, and this 288 level. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.